news is a primary cause of technical price developments. And in many instances, the only technical analysis that commentators mention. When you buy on the rumor and then sell in the news, you stand to make a nice profit on your stock. So when you buying, the market stock traders buy on a rumor, meaning that they treat the forecast prepared by economists and analysts as though the event had already happened precisely as predicted. To sell is when the news in the event itself happened, profit taking. You sometimes get the seeming paradox of a price reaching a new high and before the event falling lower immediately after the event, even when the news matches the forecast. So for instance, everyone went long on Tesla thinking that. So here's the thing, like a lot of you have it backwards. You're supposed to buy on the rumor and sell on the news. A lot of people buy the news. For instance, if Tesla is announcing a new battery, one of you are going to buy it. That's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to buy the rumor leading up to the battery, because what is going to happen is they're going to push the prices up and they're going to sell when the news event happens. And I'm going to explain it perfectly for you guys so that you guys can see what happens. So either way, to buy on the rumor and sell on the news pays off for the short-term trader who keeps their finger on the trigger, elevating forecasts and being mentally ready to buy or sell at the moment of impact of the news is difficult and a risky business. It's no wonder risk-advised traders get out of the market altogether around the scheduled event dates. So you see how they said, can you guys see my mouse, by the way? I'm asking a question. You guys can see my mouse? Let me see. Yes. Okay, cool. So it's no wonder that risk-advised traders get out of the market altogether around the scheduled event dates. So here we have Tesla, right? So on November 21st, 2019, the Cybertruck was unveiled at the Tesla Design Studio in Los Angeles on the 21st, November 2019. During the presentation, Musk demonstrated the durability of the vehicle and its material. So November 21st, 2019, look what I did. I marked the chart on that exact date just so you guys can see. So on the news of the Cybertruck event, it dropped. Whenever this truck was announced, it literally gapped down the next day. But guess what people did? They bought. Like noob traders decided, oh, the Cybertruck, it must be good. Let me buy. No, you have it exactly backwards. You're supposed to buy on the rumor. So if they say, so put it like this, if it was November 11th and you heard Tesla was announcing a Cybertruck on the 21st, you would buy the rumor. So the rumor is a Cybertruck is being unveiled on the 21st of November. You would buy the rumor and you would literally sell on the news. Does everyone understand that? Okay, so let's go over one more example, which is a trending topic, the PS5. So by a show of hands, say me if your girl is, or you are a girl and you're buying your man a PS5. Anybody getting a PS5? They talking about some me. I see all these rumors and all these memes about people's girls buying them things, and that just doesn't happen. Not saying my wife doesn't buy me anything, but you know, for the regular folk, whose girl is really just gonna go out there and buy them a PS5? But anyways, if they talking about some she better. Hey, after taking AMU, if your girl takes AMU, she'll be able to buy PS5s. How about that? Easily. Somebody said, Ari, buy me a PS5. I will. Send me the Addy. I'll send it. But anyways, here is the PS5 rumor. So we were all chilling. Sony, the stock, was chilling all year, yada, yada, yada. And then next thing you know, a rumor happens. A PS5 is going to be announced on June 11th, 2020. As it's June 11th, PS5 revealed event. Sony detailed a big slate of games that are coming to the next gen console, including several exclusives. So here, before June 11th, this is when you're supposed to sell. So you're supposed to buy the rumor and sell the news. Look what happens. So guess what a noob trader would do? They would say, oh, Sony is releasing the PS5 on June 11th. Let me wait to June 11th to buy. See what I'm saying? When really you're supposed to buy the rumor and sell the news. One more time. I know for a fact you guys get that. How do you find out about the rumor? News apps. You gotta be up to date. We will go over that. I believe later on in the chapter, the news apps we use and stuff like that. If I didn't do it already, but if not, I'm just gonna say it real quick. Download these apps, and you need to remember this because I'm not going to write this down or repeat it. Download Seeking Alpha, Yahoo Finance. I'm saying it twice so you guys can remember. Seeking Alpha, Yahoo Finance, and one more. What's a good rumor? Let me go to my app real quick on my phone. It won't be long. How I find out about the rumors. I'll say Twitter as well is a good one. Follow who I follow on Twitter, and that will give you an instance of who I follow to get good news. So, what is sector trading? Sector trading is when you try to capitalize on stocks within a group. These stocks typically move in unison, and traders are able to trade good moves within a sector. You'll notice that stocks trading within the same sector will have similar charts and patterns. This can benefit in one or two ways. You can trade a stock within the same sector for a cheaper premium. If you miss a move within a stock, you may be able to catch a move with that is related to it. So here you see that we have a sector XLF, right? And it is a bank sector. And look at its top holdings. Its top holdings are BRKB, Berkshire Hathaway, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, right? So the top two holdings or top three holdings look the same as the ETF. So remember what we learned about ETFs. You see how AMU is perfectly in order. We teach you ETFs, and then 3 classes later, you see an ETF, but it's a bank ETF. And what bank ETFs do is they invest in banks, as you can see. So remember, an ETF is just a large stock portfolio, as you can see, comprised of its designed stocks. So if it's designed to be a bank ETF, it will probably have more bank stocks, if that makes sense. But anyways, as you can see, Bank of America, JP Morgan and Chase, and XLF have similar patterns. You see that? Similar patterns. Why? Because they move in unison. They are a sector. They are within the same sector, as you can see. So they move in unison. And then here we have MJ, which is a marijuana ETF stock, Canadian marijuana. Or maybe it's just marijuana, but I'm going to say Canadian marijuana because most of them be like Canadian. So, except this one says Swedish. But here we have GW, Cron, and Canopy Growth. So here you have the MJ stock, and as you can see, it has the same pattern. One more time, again, within the same sector, they move in unison. So what I'm trying to tell you is you can literally buy stocks within the same sector and you can stand a profit on them, if that makes sense. Like if you miss a move in one stock, you might be able to catch the move in the other, if that makes sense. And sometimes, let's just say bank stocks are doing good or tech is doing good or whatnot. You can buy the smaller or larger stock depending on how you want to do it. So here we know CGC moves faster than Cron, right? It moves more per dollar. So it would be smart to either, if marijuana, the marijuana sector is booming, you could buy possibly more shares or more contracts of Cron than you could CGC. Or let's just say you more of a high risk trader, you probably just want to buy CGC because you stand to make a better profit. So, that's just one or two ways you can look at it. And here again, we have the healthcare sector. So here we have Johnson & Johnson, United Health, and then we have the healthcare sector. And here you see Johnson & Johnson, United Health are the top two holding. So of course, it'll all look the same. You see how it all moves in unison, So remember that about sector trading. So let's go over pivot points. Pivot points are levels you can use to determine directional movement, potential support, and resistance level. Pivot points use the prior trends, high, low, and close to estimate future support and resistance levels. So pivot points are the essence of how I get out of a lot of trades and how in my targets, all of that, right? So here you see the pivot point, you see support 1, you see support 2, and you see resistance 1. So when you see R, you see P, you see S, this means pivot point. So the original point, the starting point, support 1, support 2, resistance 1. So I will be going over what this means. So here are the calculations. The pivot point is calculated by the prior period's high, low, close divided by 3, all of this. You do not have to remember this, by the way. I personally do, but by seeing this, it gives you an indicator that, so pivot point lines are determined by the prior periods, high, low, and close. But the periods that, so I will explain to you how to determine the calculations. So time frame, pivot points on the 1, 5, 10, and 15-minute chart uses the prior days, high, low, and close. That means that using these time frames, it would make the current chart based solely on yesterday's high, low, and close. So that's the good news about using smaller time frames. The pivot points will give you the prior days high, low, and close. So the accuracy of these levels be spot on because it's based on prior data. So these market makers, these machines, these levels that you must take profits, they all correlate with pivot points because it's psychologically the same data points as the prior days, the high, low, and close. And on the 30-minute, 60-minute, 120-minute chart, it uses the prior week's high, low, and close to determine the support 1, support 2, resistance 1, so all of that. So if we go back, you see how it says prior days, high, low, and close? So if this is on a 5 or 15-minute chart, prior period, so that means a day. So the period means day. So prior days, high, low, plus close divided by 3 will give you P on the 5-minute chart. But if this was the 1 hour chart, it would use the prior week's pivot, high, low, and close. So it would literally take a weekly candle or the weekly, whatever it is, high, low, and close, and it will use that to determine the pivot points and so on. Does everyone understand that? Okay, so easy, simple. You guys seem to always understand when I talk, so that's a good thing. Pivots on the daily chart will be based on the prior month's data. So it would be, now you'll be plugging in the prior months instead of the prior weeks. You see what I'm saying? So you don't have to remember this, but what I'm trying to do is kind of place in your head why pivot points are the way they are, so you can kind of understand them. Don't worry, it's about to get real. So now we have the pivot points in a prime example. So let me kind of go to my annotation spotlight. There we go. Bam. Cool. So, oops. I have no idea what happened. I have no idea. What's going on? Oh, there we go. Resume share. All right. Can you guys see my mouse, by the way? Because I need you guys to be able to see that. Okay, you guys can't see my mouse. All right, this is my first time using a laptop doing AME. I usually use an iPad, but my wife is using it to film a video. So anyways, here, you're going to see the P, right? So basically, P is the level. This is the 5-minute chart, by the way. So that means it is using yesterday's high, low, and close. So here's yesterday's high. I know that for a fact, but we don't know if this is yesterday's low. But to pretend like it was, let's just say this was the lowest and the highest point. These pivot lines will be based on that. So basically, if you see it broke support here, right? So this lowest point, it broke that point. And then where did it go? Where's the next level? Where's your next target? It will be S1. So what pivots are doing is giving you a target of where you should take profits. So let's just say you thought Microsoft was bearish. Me personally, I would have got out of Microsoft or at least trimmed here. And you see how it perfectly bounced off the pivot point, and then it went to the next one, and then it went to the next one. But see, here's something I learned. I always get out of the trade, or at least a lot of it, around this point. Because you see how it so I would always get out like maybe 50 cents under where it needs to go, because it usually sometimes it'll reverse. So I would at least trim when you get close to the pivot point, because sometimes they know traders, like certain traders like me, I wouldn't even get out until it touches here. But sometimes you might get discouraged, or you might like, oh crap, I should have took profits when it got right here. So that's why I be telling people trim here, and trim here. So you can either divide the pivot in threes to trim, or you can divide it in twos if you're really cocky and bold about your position. So you would take profits at half of it reaching the pivot point. So let's just say it broke back up top right here, right? And you're trying to get in Microsoft. You would take profits here and you would take profits here. So you would literally divide your targets in half, and that's how you're going to get, that's how you take profits properly. And you see how powerful these pivot point lines are. Look at these rejections. You see this wick when it touches the support, and then you see another wick when it touches the resistance right here. And let's go over some more examples. So descending triangle, resistance, support line. So here you see like it kept tapping the pivot point, tapping the pivot point, tapping the pivot point, tapping the pivot point. So what I'm trying to show you guys is the power of pivot points during the daily chart. If you never had pivot points on your chart, you're missing out, because you don't know what the stock is reacting to. You just like, why does the stock just keep bouncing on this level? Or when it goes to another level, it bounces. So let me explain something. Roku ended here during the day, but if it had more time to keep going down, it would have definitely touched support too, without a doubt, because that's just how pivot points work. So here is another good example. Bam, it touched the pivot point, went down, retested the pivot point, then broke resistance here. And then what's the next target? R1. Then what's the next target after that? R2. And you see how during the halfway mark where I said take profits. So remember how I said you would divide this in half? So let's just say you would have got out. So you would take profits here, take profits here, take profits here, take the rest of your profits here. And then you would probably re-enter on a break above this, and then take profits again at some more here and then some more here. Does everyone understand that? How pivot points work? It's literally targets and levels for you to take profits. It's free. I mean, it's free game. I don't see how anyone would not use this, because it's giving you clear indications of where the stock is going. You see how it's like a magnet. Like I look at pivot points like magnets. Sometimes I'll say this. It's a high probability target point. So Will it reach all of the time? No. But will it reach most of the time? Yes. You see what I'm saying? You see how, let's just say NVIDIA would have reversed here and didn't go to the pivot point. That doesn't mean the next day it will, you know what I'm saying, it won't reverse, or you know what I'm saying, or reach your target. There will be times where pivot points will fake you out, or it'll stop like at this point right before it gets to the pivot. You just got to study and learn it. You'll learn how to feel them. But when there's momentum, what I'm learning is when there's momentum on a stock, so when there's good volume, 9 times out of 10, it'll reach the pivot. And I will go over that in the later classes too. So here you see, again, Square broke support, went to pivot, and then went to the next one. But lo and behold, look what happened. It barely touched the pivot. You see what I'm saying? But you would have been like, it's about to touch the next candle right here. You'd been like, okay. And then you would have had to get out of the trade about right here. You would have lost some profit. That's why I say take profits, a lot of profits before, and then like trim big. So let's just say I bought 10 contracts, right? I would trim down to 8 about in this area and then hold the last 2, hoping it would continue to fall, if that makes sense. But you see what's going on. The pivot points are real. You see how it's a magnet? So at first it wouldn't touch it, but then it rejected and then touched it again. It's a magnet. And then here's the 1 hour chart. I don't use pivot points on the 1 hour chart. I just did this to kind of give an example that all time frames kind of respect pivots. You see what I'm saying? So on the 1 hour time frame, we have I would say a bearish engulfing, but it's not, because it's right above that open up there on the red candle. Oops. I don't know why it's not working. Trying to go to the next slide. Oh, that's it. So I'm thinking there's more. That was it. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the course on pivot points and sector trading. And I hope you guys will at least add this to your charting. You can go on TradingView and add it to your charting. And yes, it is a game changer. You will be using this for the rest of your life. I guarantee it. But like I said, class 10 is when I really show you guys a strategy of mine that is almost fail proof. You see me play it every day in my chat, where I just continue to make at least 1,200 at a time using this strategy. So I will teach you guys that strategy day 10. So mark that on your calendar. You don't want to miss it. Oh, Mike, you're up next. Let me try to mute my junk real quick. Oh, here it is down here.
All right. Welcome to week 3, day 1, AMU University. Before I get started, I just want to make sure that everyone can hear me and everyone can see my screen. All right, perfect. All right, so getting started. What are futures? Futures are financial contracts obligating the buyer to purchase an asset or the seller to sell an asset and have a predetermined future date and price. A futures contract allows an investor to speculate on the direction of a security, commodity, or a financial instrument. Futures are used to hedge the price movement of the underlying asset to help prevent losses from unfavorable price changes. What are the types of future contracts available to trade? Most commonly, when we talk about futures, we're going to be talking about stock index futures like the S&P 500 or the Dow futures. That's 99% of what most people are talking about when they say futures. But there's actually a ton of different types of futures that are available to trade. Most people just don't have the capital, or they don't care to trade it because it's not super liquid. But here are the type of contracts available to trade. You can trade commodity futures like oil, natural gas, corn, wheat. You can trade stock index futures like the S&P 500. It's called the E-mini futures. You can trade currency futures like the euro and the British pound. You can trade precious metal futures for gold and silver, and US Treasury futures for bonds and other products. So there's a ton of different types of future contracts available to trade. But if you hear people talking about futures and the Discord or just in general, 99% of the time they'll be talking about those stock index futures like the S&P or the Dow. So this is just an example of how you can trade futures if you are interested in it. So let's say a trader believes the price of crude oil will rise by the end of the year. December crude oil contract is trading at $50, but oil futures are traded by increments of 1,000 barrels. So you multiply the 50 times 1,000, and the investor would enter into a $50,000 position. Come December, the price of crude has risen to $60, so the trader profits $10,000. If the price of crude had dropped to $40, the trader would have lost $10,000. So it's very straightforward. You know, every oil future contract is traded in an increment of 1,000 barrels. So if you buy one of those crude December contracts, you'll be entering in 50,000. And then you're just betting that the price of crude oil will rise or the price of crude oil will drop. What else do futures tell us? Futures for the major indices such as S&P 500, Dow Jones Industrial Average, and NASDAQ begin trading at 6 p.m. Eastern on Sunday nights and stop trading 5 p.m. Friday with a halt every day between 4:15 and 4:30. So they basically trade 24/5. You know, they're trading all night. They're trading right now, actually. These futures can help give traders an idea as to how the market will open the next day. So you can go look right now, what are futures looking at for the S&P? What are futures shaping up for the Dow? And you can kind of determine just based on looking at those, how the market will open up the next day, whether we will gap down or gap up or stay flat. So before pre-market begins and after hours finishes, futures tell us where the market is heading throughout the night and early morning. How to find real-time futures data. I recommend going to investing.com. So once you go to investing.com, you'll see on the very top left, the tab that says markets. You won't actually click it. You'll just hover your mouse over markets, and then you'll hover your mouse over indices, go to the right, and you'll click on indices futures. Once you click on indices futures, this is what it looks like. And these are real time. There is no delay on investing.com. So real time stock indices futures. And then you can see down here, you know, these are the big three right here, your Dow 30, S&P 500, and your NASDAQ. So these are your future, and your prices are over here where it says change with the positive or negative, and then your change percent plus or minus. But these are what the big three future indices look like. And so let's go ahead and try that right now. Let's see, I'm on investing.com. So I'm going to go to indices futures. And currently the Dow futures are up 29. S&P 500 futures are up 5.37. So right now, just based on the current futures, you can assume that if they stay the same overnight, that we will gap up tomorrow. And then you can start making your plan for the morning or for the next day based on these futures overnight. Equity trading. So I use BlackBuck. By the way, if you don't know what equity trading is, it's very simple. It's when you're just buying or selling shares or buying or selling equity instead of buying in the actual option contract. So, you know, if I tell you I'm buying 5 shares of Apple, then that's equity trading. I'm buying 5 shares of Apple. I'm selling 5 shares of Apple. I'm shorting 5 shares of Apple. That is equity trading. So how do I equity trade? I use Black Box Stocks, pre-market, and market scanner to find stocks that are surging on higher than average volume. Black Box Stocks, by the way, is an application from the internet. If you don't know, it's like a platform you can download. It has option flow, but my favorite part about it is the market scan that it does, and it just shows you kind of all the stocks that are pumping on high volume and high percentage. So I use black box stocks, pre-market, and market scanner to find the stocks that are surging on higher than average volume. After seeing a stock continue to rise in volume, I researched why the stock is moving so much with high volume. If the stock has good news, I began to look for an entry. If the stock is moving on no news or just decent news, I still may look for an entry, just a small position size. So this tends to happen a lot with small cap stocks. They will begin to start pumping on volume for no reason. So you have to make sure that there is a reason, or it could just be random volume. It could just be, one person buying into a big position onto a small size stock. So you have to make sure that it's moving on news or a lot of volume. And then I tend to enter on pullbacks or wait for key level breaks. So there's no difference when you're trading these small and mid cap stocks. The strategy is still the same. You're looking for those breakouts of key levels, or you're looking for, to buy on those pullbacks when it hits the VWAP, when it hits, those moving averages that I talked about a couple lessons ago. So your strategy doesn't really change when you're day trading. It's basically the same concept, but now you're trading equity. You're buying and selling shares instead of buying and selling options. So there are pros and cons to trading equity. Your pros is, there's higher liquidity and volume, so you can get into bigger position sizes, and you will never have to worry about being filled. Like sometimes on options, you won't get filled just because there's not crazy high liquidity. And if even if you buy the ask, sometime you won't get filled on options. So there is way higher liquidity when you're trading equity. I rarely do not get filled on an equity position because you're literally just buying the shares right out. So there's very high liquidity, there's high volume. It is lower risk because there's not as much volatility in the actual position itself and your P&L. With that lower risk, there's also lower reward, which is in the cons section. You don't have to worry about expiration or theta decay. So if I buy 5,000 shares of American Airlines, I never have to worry about that option expiring, right? Because it's just an equity position. So I could buy that 5,000 shares and then sell it 20 years from now. So you never have to worry about expiration. You never have to worry about theta decay. The only thing you have to worry about is buying in and buying out or selling out at the right time. So it's very simple and to the point. You're literally just clicking buy and you're clicking sell. And you don't have to worry about the actual Greeks of the contract, the volume, the open interest. It's very simple and to the point. You want to get in at the right point and get out at the right point. And then another pro to trading equity is that most brokerages allow 4-to-1 leverage on margin accounts. So if you have a $25,000 account and you have a margin account, then you could actually trade for equity up to $100,000 day trading position. So, that could be a huge advantage to someone with a smaller size account who wants to size up. So you can get that 4-to-1 leverage when you're trading equity. The cons to trading equity is lower reward. So with lower risk, obviously comes lower reward. You're not going to make as much as trading options, especially with the amount of capital that you have to put in. So that's my next point. It's capital intensive. You have to actually put in quite a bit of equity to make a good amount, especially if you're trading large cap stocks. If you're trading small caps, it's not exactly the same. It's not super capital intensive, but you definitely need to be working with more money than you would have to trading options. And then margin account is necessary for shorting. So you can't short stocks on a cash account. And so that's my pros and cons for trading equity. I like the pros of it, especially if you have a lot of money. I mean, if you have over 25,000, then I do recommend trading equity because it's, the risk reward is really nice. This is just an equity versus options risk reward scenario for you, just to kind of show you guys the difference. So let's say day trader, Unraveler, buys 10 Apple calls with the weekly expiration totaling $5,000 in value. Unraveler believes the stock will rise. 30 minutes later, Unraveler was correct, and Apple moved up $1 from his entry. From his 10 Apple calls, he made a total of 20% profit on a $1 move on Apple. So Unraveler profits $1,000 using only $5,000 capital. Day trader Mike instead buys 15 shares of Apple for a total of $5,000 in value. Mike believes the stock will rise. 30 minutes later, Mike was correct and Apple moved up $1 from his entry. From his 15 shares of Apple, he made a total of 0.3% profit on a $1 move on Apple. So Mike profits $15 using $5,000 capital. Wow, seems like options definitely the way to go, right? Well, on the contrary, if Apple had moved down $1 and both Unraveler and Mike were wrong, Unraveler would have lost 1,000, Mike would have only lost 15. Now, the thing about this scenario is I use this scenario specifically for large cap stocks because that's what we primarily trade. So on a daily basis, I trade Apple, Tesla, Amazon, Nvidia, Baba, any of those big high beta names that you can think of. So you can only buy a very few amount of shares using a lower amount of capital. That being said, if you were to put $5,000 into a small cap stock, a stock that's under $10, then you could get a higher size position and potentially make more or lose more. But when we're talking about the risk reward of large cap, then this is exactly what I'm showing you right here. So, if you have a smaller size account, then options is definitely the way to go if you're trading large caps. So my key rules when trading equity, the higher the volume, the better. Don't trade stocks under $5 a share unless there's very, very high volume in the millions. When buying stocks pre-market, make sure to set a limit order with the TIF. The TIF means time in force. So if you're setting an order and you want to buy a stock pre-market, then you're going to see that order, you're either going to choose market or limit. So you have to choose limit first. And then at the bottom, it'll say TIF or time in force. And you'll have to change that to EXT, which means extended hours. So if you want to buy or sell pre-market or you want to buy or sell after hours, then you'll have to make sure that the order is not on good for day. It has to be set to EXT, extended hours. When buying stocks during the day, I tend to use hotkeys or active trader on TOS, which I will be going over. So this is what black box stocks looks like. They have this pre-market and market scan. This pre-market scan, it starts working usually at about like 7:30 or 8 a.m. and you'll start seeing all these stocks start popping up. You can see on the left, this is the symbol, and then it has the price of the stock, it has the volume, and then the percent. So they have these stocks ranked by percent. So, the highest percent is at the top for the day. And then you can also see the volume. The volume is very important. So, if I see, the stock is up 40%, but the volume is only 14,000, I'm not trading. That's trash volume. So you want to make sure that just because it's up a lot for the day, that it's also backed by high volume. So, you're looking at SRNE on this pre-market scan. You can see, it's up 59.9% for the day, but it's also had 7.9 million volume before the market even opened. So that's really, really amazing. And this is what it looks like. So if you guys open an account at Blackbox, if you want to, it's up to you. I think it's like $99 a month. This is exactly what it looks like, their pre-market and market scan for equity. So this is just one day. I took a screenshot. You can see SRNE. It was trading at $4.19 pre-market. It had a volume of 7.9 million. And pre-market, it was up 59.9%. So this, I was definitely looking for an entry. You see it at high volume, you see it's up. Then you go check to see if there was news, and there was. So then you come over here, this is market scan. So you start using the market scan when it becomes 9:30 a.m. because now the market's open. And now you can see here, SRNE, which was the same from over here, is now at 678. Volume of 499 million. So that's huge, massive volume, you know, excuse me, 500 million in volume for the day, and it was up 158.8%. So this is how you can use the black box scan. You start by looking at stocks on the left, and then you go over to the right. So this is a pre-market scan example from that day, SRNE, right? So I started seeing that alert. Sorry, 1 sec, I'm gonna get some water. Sorry about that. So yeah, you can see back here, right? That SRNE was at 419 when I first saw the alert, 7.9 million in volume. So now you're looking at the actual chart, and you can see over here the price scale on the right side. You see where 419 is. That's very, very low compared to where it went as a high of day all the way up to 9. So it more than doubled for the day, and you get that alert pre-market, and that's when you start planning your entry, you know? So you could have entered when it broke the pre-market high, right? You could have entered on a pullback when it hit VWAP or one of those moving averages that I talked about, or just look for high volume, like this high volume when it broke the high of day from the morning. So this is very, very clear of how you can use, you know, that black box scanner to trade equity positions. And this stock, you know, it was only trading at $4 a share. So even if you can only buy 100 shares, right, that's $400. 4 times 100, that's a $400 position. You know, you take a $1, you take a $2 move, and you can make $100, $200. Market scan examples. SRNE. I mean, I just put the same stock here because you saw it in the pre-market, but you also saw it in the market scan. So 2 ways right there. I mean, that was the biggest scanner for the day for this stock, but then also ACB. So if we go back to that scanner, you can see that ACB was the second highest percentage gainer for the day. So then you're looking, okay, this is ACB, has 101 million in volume, price 10.95. Okay, that's perfect, right? It's above, it's in my range, it's above $5 a share. I would like to take this, has a lot of volume, it's up high for the day. So there you go, you just plan your entry, right? So 10 definitely is the entry for this. You know, it's above that high of the day. You could have also taken this above the pre-market high, and as soon as it cleared 10 on volume, like on this candle, it cleared it and it closed above it, then that could have been your entry. But I'm just showing you guys examples of how you can use this scanner from Blackbox, you know, pre-market and market, to see how the stock was, you know, moving up on high volume for the day and high percentage. One thing that I recommend learning how to use is the active trader on TOS to trade equity. Right now, I'm actually using TOS and Lightspeed because TOS has been having some issues. So I've been, you know, picking up the slack with TOS by using Lightspeed. And but I'm going to go over. I still think TOS is a very solid platform, despite its errors sometimes. But I'm going to go over how to use the active trader on TOS. So if you look at this, this is exactly what it looks like, and this is how I have mine set up. So I have buy market, sell market, cancel all, reverse, flatten, and sell the bid. I also have buy the ask. It's just not on this one. And then your quantity buttons. So this is called active trader. And by using this, if let's say I want to buy 300 shares of Apple, I'll just click the 300. That auto send button is already clicked. So I would click the 300. I would have Apple pulled up, and then I could just click buy market, and boom, instantaneously I would be in 300 shares of Apple. And then when I'm ready to close, I could click sell the bid, or I could click flatten, and instantaneously I'll sell those 300 shares of Apple. So how to set it up? Very simple. You'll just this is TOS, the main account. I mean, this is my account. And you can see on the right side, the button, it just says active trader. This is on every single person's TOS platform. So you'll just click that active trader button, and then this panel comes out. This panel right here. And then you click this little button on the settings on the active trader. Like if you want to customize this, which I would recommend having it set up like how I have it set up. So click that little settings button, customize it like this with your quantity buttons. And this is how you can buy and sell out of those equity positions very quickly if you are interested in trading equity. And then setting up hotkeys. So hotkeys are literally buttons on your keyboard to get in and out of equity positions. So, for me, I can click Control B on my keyboard and I'll buy 100 shares of whatever stock. So how do you set those up on TOS? At the top right of your screen, you'll click on Setup. So right here. Step 2, whenever you click on Setup, this little drop down will come down. You'll click on Application Settings. Step 3, click on Order Defaults tab and adjust your settings to how many shares you want to buy with your hotkeys. So you'll click on Stocks for your order defaults, and then the default quantity of orders, that's where you'll put how many shares you want to buy with whatever hotkey you set up. So if you want to buy 100 shares, you want to buy 1,000 shares, you want to buy 10 shares, then in this little box right here, where it says default quantity of orders, that's where you'll set the amount of shares that you would like to buy or sell with your hotkeys. So that's under the order defaults tab at the top. And then you'll adjust your hotkeys as you please. You can see how basic mine are. All I have to do is push Control B and I buy 100 shares at the market, Control S and I sell 100 shares in the market. So these are my hotkeys, very, very simple. Control F is flat now. And that, flat just means it closes the position. So if I click Control F, it'll close whatever position I'm in. If I click Control R, it'll reverse whatever position I'm in. So if I'm short 100 shares of Apple, it'll reverse me to where I'll be long 100 shares of Apple. If I click Control B, I'll buy 100 shares of Apple at the market. If I click Control S, I'll sell 100 shares of Apple at the market. Control Alt S, sell 100 shares of Apple at bid. Control A, auto send. Control C is cancel all. So if I have order pending and I click Control C, it'll just cancel that order. So this is it's very simple. I really recommend if you're going to use hotkeys, make them simple. Like I have, Control B. Don't have like Control Alt F 631, something crazy. Just have like Control B. So my key takeaways for you, futures can be traded in many forms, but the most common type we use on a daily basis is index futures to see how the market will open the next morning. Returns from equity may not be even close to those from trading options, but the risk is lower risk, but also lower reward. Black Box Stocks has an amazing pre-market and market scanner, which can help you determine stocks moving on high volume. Active Trader and hotkeys allow speed, enabling you to advance as a trader, getting in and out of positions in less than a second. So I hope that made sense for you guys. If not, I'll be around for questions after the class, and I'll be passing it on to Rattler now.
Thanks, Mike. Let me share my screen now. Good evening, everyone. Hope you guys can see my screen, and hope you guys are having a great weekend. Welcome to day 7 of AMU University. So in today's lesson, I'm going to be teaching you how to find trading setups using screeners. This is a very popular topic because a lot of you have questions on how the three of us find trading setups every day. How do we find the stocks to trade, especially for day trading and swing trading? How do we find the stocks that we pick for our trades? So today I'm going to teach you some of my methods, primarily for finding those key momentum stocks for intraday trading and also for selecting swings trading stocks. Okay. I'll be going over two of the platforms, or rather three of the platforms today, but there's also another one that we'll be discussing later on in the course. So the table of content for today's lesson, first I'll be giving you an introduction, then going over what are screeners, uses of screeners, types of screeners, most popular scanners and screeners, how I use screeners for intraday and swing trading, and a walkthrough of Benzinga, Finviz, and TradingView. Okay? Hope you guys are ready. I'm going to get started now. Introduction. So every day, there are hundreds of stocks that either rally or decline with strong momentum and volume, both pre-market, intraday, and after hour, due to some kind of catalyst. So you may be only used to seeing stocks like Apple, Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and Google. So that's not wrong. A lot of traders out there are used to trading the same large size stock, primarily because they're very, very liquid. A lot of people, millions of traders and investors trade those stocks every day. So you can get in and out of positions with ease trading those stocks. But there are also stocks that rally and decline with strong momentum and volume due to some kind of news catalyst. So for example, these last couple of weeks in our chat, we've been trading Beyond Meat, the stock. We've been trading Roku. We've been trading Netflix. We've been trading Zoom, and a lot of other stocks that has some kind of catalyst. So as a trader, choosing to trade these stocks, the stocks that have strong momentum and a strong catalyst behind them, can improve your odds of making large profits in a short period of time. So last week, I think all of us, we had the same stock, Roku and Beyond Meat, in our watch list. We completed trading, I think, the first 3 minutes of the trading day. We found the stock that had a good catalyst. We have found a good level. We saw good pre-market action. We got in at the open, and we we're done for the day within the first 5 minutes. So if you can do that, and if you select the right stocks, you're going to make a large profit in a short period of time because of the momentum of the stock. And you don't have to stick around trading the entire chop the whole day. However, finding such stocks from a list of thousands of stocks is hard, and relying on news sources like CNBC, MarketWatch, and so on and so forth is not the most efficient way to go about it. Stock selection isn't easy, but it is an important variable that will determine the outcome of your trade. Now, this is a common saying. You may have done your due diligence. You might have done charting, you would have done your technical analysis, but if your stock selection is poor on the day, your chances to profit are slim. This is a very important term, so I'm just going to repeat it again. You may have done your due diligence, you might have done your charting using technical analysis, but if your stock selection is poor, chances of profit are slim. So the reason I'm saying this is because a lot of traders in our chat, they're good. They've been around for a while, they've done with technical analysis, but they may be missing one key aspect. So some traders like to fall in love with the stock. So they like to trade the same stuff every day, even if it's not presenting a good trend, even if it's trading sideways, even if it's not having good momentum, even if it's not having good volume on the day, they still like to trade the stock, and it's fine. But you could be putting in a lot of effort to make profit in that stock, if you just devoted a fraction of the effort trading one of these strong momentum stocks, you'll make your life easier. You'll make a lot of money quickly, and you can move on to the next trade or even call it a day. So stock selection is very important, and today I'm going to teach you going over a couple of tools that can help you select the right kind of stocks. Okay. So what are scanners and screeners? The stock scanner / screener is a screening tool used to search the markets for tickers, meaning stock symbols, meeting users' criteria for trading and investing. It offers speed, convenience, and saves a lot of time. It allows traders to focus on a select list of stocks meeting the user's criteria and ignore all the noise. Like I said, there are hundreds of thousands of stock symbols out there. So you might have a certain criteria. So for example, I'm just saying, you're looking for stocks that has good pre-market volume, you're looking for something that's broken resistance or near the resistance area probably, and you're looking for large cap stocks, and you're interested in tech stocks because all the other sectors are weak pre-market. So this is a good criteria to key in into your screening, your screening tool. And what the screener is going to do is it's going to scan the entire stock market, entire market for your criteria. So if you key in 5 variables, it's going to scan the entire market for those variables, and it's going to return you a list of stocks that meet those criteria. So as a trader, that's a very fast process instead of manually going and checking in all your stock symbols in your watch list. If you have 100, so I have a big watch list myself. So if I go in and check every single watch list during the day, I wouldn't have enough time to prepare for my session. So every day morning, I wake up at around 5:45 or 6 o'clock, start with the news. I have a big process that I go through. And then eventually I sit down and plot my levels based on my stocks, and then I produce my watch list and I get ready for trading. So if I sit around and just go through my entire watch list to just finalize my plan, it would never be, I'll never be able to trade that day. It's going to be such a big process. So using a tool like this is going to help me save time. It's very convenient and it's a very fast process. So I mentioned screeners and scanners here. So what's the difference between these two? A stock screener, a stock scanner will be constantly scanning the markets for ideas, and it'll stream alerts as they happen in real time. While a stock screener, on the other hand, needs to be refreshed either manually or with an auto setting to produce new data. That's it. So if you have a scanner, there are a couple of tools in the market that's a scanner. So what it's going to do, it's going to so once you set the variables, let's say you set 5 variables out there in the setting, it's going to constantly be scanning the markets for stocks that meet that criteria. And when the scanner finds something that meets your criteria, it's going to pop an alert for you so that you can take a look at the chart and trade if you're interested in it. What a stock screener is going to do is going to do the same thing, but it just has a refresh setting tied to it. So it's not going to be constantly scanning the market. Let's say it has a refresh rate of 1 minute. So every minute it's going to run that scan and see if something meets the criteria. So that's the difference essentially. One's just constantly going to be scanning the market, and another is just going to be doing it with a delay. Sometimes there's going to be a manual refresh button, but most platforms these days have an auto setting where you can just set the time. It's going to be a minimum of 1 minute. It's going to scan the market every minute to see if something pops up that matching the criteria. Okay, so that's the difference between scanners and screeners. I don't constantly during intraday, once I have my plan finalized, I don't often use the screeners to constantly be scanning the market. So I rely on screeners instead of scanners. But if you're going to be trading equity, you want to be having a scanner. It's more useful. I have a couple of friends that use Trade Ideas scanner for equity, and the tool's very powerful. It's going to give you a list of ideas and stocks that meet certain criteria, and you can use to trade those stocks. The good thing about Trade Ideas is that a lot of equity traders constantly use that. So if an idea gets generated there, chances are a lot of top traders are going to be interested in trading the stock, which is going to provide a lot of volume and liquidity to trade that asset. Okay, so I hope that you guys understand what is a screener, what the advantages of a screener are, and what's the difference between a screener and a scanner. Okay, I'm going to go to the next slide. So what are the types of screeners? Stock screeners can be used for different purposes based on the trader and investor's goal. They can be classified based on function and time frame. So what are the two types? So there's two types. Screeners can be classified based on purpose on two types. One is a fundamental based scanner / screener, and another is a technical based scanner and screener. So throughout this PowerPoint, I'll be using the term scanner and screeners interchangeably, but you guys know what I mean, okay? So what is a fundamental based scanner? So typically it's going to be used by fundamental based traders and investors, primarily used for position based trading and long-term investing. So fundamental based trader. So what does it mean? So you may ask me, how can anyone just trade using fundamentals? So these are the traders, or I should say these are investors. So what they're going to do is they're going to make positional plays. So something hits a long-term support, they're going to buy a bunch of shares and just hold. If it's a good company based on their research, they're just going to buy and hold the stock for a while and hoping to capitalize on the reversal or the rally that's going to happen. So buy and hold kind of traders, they may hold for a couple of weeks to a couple of months to maybe even a year. They're going to ride the stock and put their positions in and going to capitalize on that profit. And there's also investors who like to just invest their invest their savings into stocks, hoping to profit off of it long term. So what can you do with the fundamental based scanner? So you can key in variables like PE ratio, you can key in revenue, what the company's revenue is, what the market cap is for that company. Is it a small cap stock, large cap, or is it a mega cap stock? What sector is it trading in? Is it a tech stock? Is it a healthcare stock? Is it like a utility stock? You can key in those variables. You can see what the institutional ownership for that stock is. Do insiders own a lot of large percentage of shares? What are the institutional ownership, meaning what are the funds holding? Do we have strong interest in the company, the means of funds? And what is the debt to equity ratio? There's a lot of other ratios out there, and there's EPS growth, etc. So these can be used. So if you're a fundamental analyst, you know what you're looking for when you want to buy a stock. You want to look for a company with a good PE ratio, not to make sure that it's actually undervalued. You want to make sure whatever it is. If you know what variables you're looking for, you can key in that, and the fundamental based scanner is going to scan the market for a list of stocks that meet your criteria, and it's going to return it to you. Okay. So as an investor, you will be able to perform fundamental analysis on companies and determine if they're overvalued or undervalued and make sound investment decisions. So it's a very neat tool. I actually use a couple of fundamental based variables when I do market research for my positional and swing plays. It's kind of useful. I'll show it to you later on in the lesson when I go over my applications. But it's a very neat tool. But as day traders and positional swing traders, we primarily rely on technical based scanners, which I will be showing what it is now. So what is a technical based scanner? Technical based scanner is used by technical based traders. You can research stocks for short and long term equity trades. You can do research for option trades as well. And as an investor, you may use fundamental based scanners to research the company, but you may also want to use technical based scanners to time your entry and exit. So technical based scanner is going to tell you when to actually buy and sell, but fundamental based scanner is going to tell you what to buy and sell. That makes sense for investors. Now, technical based scanners are primarily used for intraday and swing trading. A good example for technical based parameters is, so if you can key in parameters like volume, price changes, chart patterns, candlestick patterns, the RSI, moving averages, and so on and so forth, you would be able to scan the market and look for stocks that meet the criteria. And then you can do your own technical analysis, plot your levels, and then take the trades on those stocks. So these are the two types of scanners out there in the market. Most platforms offer a combination of both these scanners, meaning you will have a list of fundamental based filters, and you'll also have a list of technical based filters based on your criteria, based on your preference. You can choose either one or the other, or you can choose a mix of both. Okay. So what are the popular screeners out there in the market? So there's FinVis Screener. So it's a web-based screener. It offers technical and fundamental filter options. It has a free version, so you don't have to pay for it, and you can use most of the features that's there available on the website. The Elite version costs $25. So the Elite version has an extra additional filters, and it offers you real-time data. So what does real-time data mean? So typically when you go to this application during the day, during market hours, you will see all the settings out there, meaning you'll see all the filters, and you can do scans and everything, but it's not going to reflect the current market prices. So if Apple, the stock is currently trading at $110 and the stock price is constantly moving, when you go to this website and hit scan, it's not going to show you the current price of Apple. It's going to show you a delay. It's going to show you a delayed price. Okay, so that's what the free version has as a caveat. So if you buy the Elite version, it doesn't cost much at all. Just cost a bunch of $25 per month is very cheap. And if you can purchase that, you will have access to the real-time data and a bunch of extra filters. You won't have to see ads. It's actually a very nice platform. When I first started trading, I used FinVis for everything. So I use this platform to research all my plays. So I used to do a lot of swing trades when I first started because I was working full-time job and I needed to do a lot of overnight research, and I used Finviz for that. And honestly, it's one of the best platforms out there. I like it. It's very user-friendly. It's very simple. It's very beginner friendly. So I'll be going over this platform uh, in this lesson. So the next tool is Benzinga Pro Screener. This is also a web-based screener, meaning you just got to go to a website to view the platform. It doesn't have a standalone application or such, the same way as Fenviz. So you don't have an iOS application that you can just go and download in the App Store. You have to go to the website to access this screener. So again, like Finviz, it offers both technical and fundamental based filter options. And the basic plan starts at $99 per month. So if you want more data, so I'm going to show you the platform, but if you want more data like options activity, you want more and more, you got to pay more. So there's like, I think 20, 30 bucks extra. The max loaded package, I think, comes around $150 a month or something like that. 150 or 200, I think it's $200 a month. So that's Benzinga Pro Scanner. It's also a nice scanner. I use both Benzinga and Finviz now. Trade Ideas is another scanner. Unlike the two, this is actually a scanner, meaning it's actually a tool that can be used to scan the market constantly, not without a refresh rate. Trade Ideas is an excellent stock scanner that gives a trader the constant stream of stock trading opportunities during the day. If you're a day trader and like to do equity trades, seen most of them use Trade Ideas as a scanner because it allows you to scan market for different criterias. You can have different kind of widgets and use scan the market for different criterias, and if one of them meet the criteria, you get an alert sent to you and you can trade that stock. You can have volume-based filters. If something gets a volume surge of, let's say, 1.5 times the relative volume or something like that, you're going to get an alert. You can trade that news pop or whatever. It may be a penny stock pump or whatever it is. You can trade that. And the good thing about Trade Ideas is they have several back-tested built-in strategies that you can use. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. They already have good back-tested strategies that you can use to start off with. And if once you get enough experience, you can further modify all those built-in strategies to suit your needs. You can also create your own built-in strategy and execute that in the platform. And yeah, to add to more, Trade Ideas also has an AI named Holly that generates constant stream of trade ideas. Holly reviews the performance of each trading day and improves her idea generation algorithm. So Holly is going to give you a lot of trade ideas. He's going to say a long XYZ stock or short XYZ stock or whatever the idea is. She's going to give you that trading idea, and it's based on the AI feedback, meaning it's going to review each trading day's activity and improves its accuracy every single day, so the idea generation process gets better over time. So the basic plan for Trade Ideas starts at $118 per month. This is quite advanced platform, but it's very, very useful. If you are really utilize all the features there, you would be able to capitalize on, you will be able to get a good value for the buck you spent. Okay. So those are the three. So most of these plans, so Finviz also has a free version. Benzinga does not have a free version, so you have to pay to use their platform. Trade Ideas similarly does not have a free version. You have to pay to use their platform. But let's say you're just starting out trading. You don't want to spend a lot of money. You can use Finviz's free version. That's well and good. But the other option that you have is most trading and charting platforms have screeners. Thinkorswim has a screener, inbuilt screener, which Mike will go over, I think, in a couple of lessons. TradingView has a screener, which I will be showing you now. AmiBroker, whatever charting platform you use, broker platform you use, they also have a screener. Websites like Yahoo Finance, Google Finance, and so many others also have free screeners. So you can go to any of these websites if you are looking for a certain kind of stocks. They may not have all the filters that some of these platforms have, but they will have most of the commonly used filters that you can key in and filter the market for those stocks. Good thing about Yahoo and Google Finance is that they're companies that always keeps updating their website. They always had new features. They always make it more user friendly. So you'll probably, if you don't see something one day, probably if you come and check their website a couple of weeks from now, they're probably going to have that new feature. So always keep checking them if you're if you don't subscribe to any one of these premium platforms. So that said, these are the options that we are that's commonly the most popular ones, and hope you guys understood this. So now I'm going to go over some of this is my go-to filter criteria, technical filter criteria for researching stocks, especially when I'm looking for something for day trading and swing trading. So what is this? Planning for a trade is very important, especially if you're someone that works a 9 to 5 or trying to grow a small account. So a lot of people, they ask me, or they look at my Robinhood challenge, they ask me, they always send me messages. How do you grow your account? What should my starting balance be? How much should I risk in a trade? They may ask me all these questions. So I will be going over that in a future lesson in the course for AMU, so don't worry about it. But the thing that they don't ask is what kind of stock should I be trading? What should I be trading to grow my account? So that's a very important question. All of that risk management stuff and how much capital you need to risk and everything is good. But what should you be trading to grow your account? And how much should you be trading? That's a very important question. Nobody really asked me. And if you're really trying to grow a small account, or if you're really working a 9 to 5, it's not about the number of trades that you take. It's about the quality of trades that you take. You may take 3 trades a week and still manage to grow your account instead of taking 30 trades a week. Okay, so if you're someone that takes 30 trades a week and only make $100, and the other person who makes 3 trades a week, has a quality setup, makes $1,000 a week, who's winning? The one that makes three trades a week. Now, if you want to be looking for quality trades, research and planning is very important. And especially that's when all these tools comes into use, because you can't be spending a lot of time like scanning the whole market for something manually. So all these tools, all these criteria is going to help you like narrow your vision so that you're focused on a select list of plays. And when the market opens, once you have your game plan ready, if you see that game plan playing out like you imagined, all you have to do is execute, and without hesitation, you will be able to make money and follow your risk management and stop losses if things go sideways. That does happen, but executing, following a plan and creating a plan and trading a plan will help you grow your account, and it will help you become a profitable trader. So what are my key filters, technical filters, when I'm looking for swing and day trading stocks? So typically for day trading, I have a different process. Every morning I wake up and I look at the news, I look at the futures, I see global macro events, I see what's happening in the market throughout the day. Are we going to expect, is there the sentiment bearish? Are we expecting a drop and a pop? Or what it is that's going to happen during the day on that trading day? What it is as traders can we expect from the market? So once I do that, I go through, I'm going to go through my list of watch list, pre-market watch list, to see which stock is actually trading up with good volume. If there's something that already meets my criteria, I'm not going to be focused on anything else. Remember, day trading is about being laser focused on 1 or 2 stocks. And once that meets your criteria, all you have to do is execute and make money on that. Day trading doesn't have to be complicated at all. It's simple. You can lose money if you make it complicated. Just be focused on 1 or 2 or 3 stocks. Once your level goes off, execute. Once you hit your profit target, get out, move on to the next trade. Now, swing trading, on the other hand, requires careful planning, because it has to meet a lot more criteria. And remember that you're planning to hold that play for at least 1 day overnight. So it requires more planning, and it requires good execution, and timing of entry and exit is very important. And you also need to know current market conditions. You don't know what's going to happen the next day. So today market may be green, tomorrow it's going to be a red day, the next day we're going to limit down. So research is very important, stock selection is very important, and knowing the market condition is also important. Okay, so that's my day trading process. My day trading process is just keeping it simple, finding a list of stocks, something as catalyst or whatnot. I'll show you how I research my stock when I go over Benzinga, but I try to keep day trading simple. So for swing trading, what I do is I use one of those platforms like Finviz or Benzinga, whatever, and I key in all these technical criteria. So the first one that I look for is average daily volume is greater than 500,000. So typically, if it's a small cap stock, 500,000 is pretty good volume. It depends mostly on the number of shares that's out, the float of the stock. But ideally, you want to be looking for at least 500K or preferably 1 million shares as your average volume, because you don't want to be trading anything without any liquidity. And the next one is market cap. So it depends. Market cap, typically these days, the penny stock market I'm sorry, I shouldn't be talking about penny stocks. The market cap for small cap is not that, small caps, the liquidity for small caps is not that great. So trading stocks is hard. Trading options is going to be even harder. So I wouldn't recommend trading small cap, but the market is favoring small cap. And then you can trade small cap if you find something that meets your criteria. So typically filters for researching small to mid cap stocks or large to mega cap stocks. So when the market is really trending, meaning when the S&P, the Nasdaq, and the Dow Jones are trending really well, even the Russell is trending really good, you can trade your regular watch list and make money. You wouldn't go wrong. So the Nasdaq's really up. Chances are Apple, Netflix, Facebook are also going to be up. You can trade breakouts on those stocks and make good money. Easy process. You don't have to complicate things. But the market's not trending, and you're looking for something with good momentum and volume, you may look to turn your eyes towards mid-cap stocks, because chances are something over there is going to be running. For example, NEO may be running, Workhorse may be running, or there's a lot of stocks that just keep running. TDOC may be running, LVGO may be running. There's a lot of stocks out there that's not a large cap stock. They may be a small to mid cap stocks, but there's going to be having a lot of liquidity and volume. ENO may be running, and there's whatever it is. You may want to trade those stocks to make a quick buck. Okay, so market cap's important. That's an easy way to filter out large companies and small companies. Sometimes you may have a better opportunity in small to mid cap stocks compared to large to mega cap stocks. And the next one is relative volume greater than 1.5. So this is more important for swing trading. So usually what happens is, so what is relative volume? That's first thing. So volume, typically we know that number of shares exchanged on a given day, right? On any given period. So relative volume greater than 1.5, what that means is, what are the stocks that's trading 1.5 times the average volume, okay? So if something's trading more than its usual volume, there's something happening in the stock. Some kind of news or some kind of breakouts anticipated, or a big sell-off is anticipated. So I want to look for stocks like that. So there's more than the average volume traded, something's going to happen in the stock, and I want to look for something that's trading at higher the average volume. Number one, it indicates good liquidity, and number two, it indicates that something is happening in the stock. There's a lot of trader interest in the stock. Okay. And the next one is country, USA. I just have this as a filter because in some platforms, especially Finviz, stocks from other countries may also be listed. They may be Canada, they may be UK. So you want to make sure that they're only searching for the stocks that's listed in the US exchange. And the next one is option/short, optionable. So I want to make sure that the stock that I'm searching for has a valid options chain. Not all stocks need to have an options chain. So I want to make sure that whatever stocks that I get returned in my criteria, I want to make sure that it's optionable. Sector selection, it's based on current market sentiment. Like I said before, so currently the last week or so, tech stocks have taken a big beating. A lot of these stocks have sold off big time, and people kept buying the dip, and it kept dipping. So there's a meme for that. When you buy the dip and it keeps dipping, that's actually happened now. Everyone on Twitter is literally crying because they kept buying the dip like 20% ago, and it kept dipping. Now they're all long-term investors when they wanted to just be traders because they're bag holding now. So when market is not favoring you, a certain sector, you want to be looking for a different sector that's offering a better value for your money. So sector selection is important. Aristotle went over this. So there are different sectors out there, and on a given day, you see transportation like airlines or something else is popping. You may want to just switch your criteria to the travel sector and see what are the hotels or resorts or resort stocks or travel stocks. A lot of stocks are out there. You can search for this. The shipping companies, FedEx, UPS, wherever the value is. Because what's going to happen is when one sector is underperforming, the big money and all the traders, they're going to switch to another sector. You're not going to be trading something that's showing weakness and being choppy. You're going to go to something else that's actually trading with good volume and momentum and actually showing a clear trend. They're going to putting all their money in that sector, and that's going to be the hot sector for the day. Chances are, instead of trading tech on a weekday, if you put your money or if you buy your option contracts on a sector that's showing good liquidity and volume, you're going to make easy money. Try to make your trading easy. You may be a great trader, but you don't have to trade the choppy stocks. You can trade something that's showing easy, good volume and momentum. And to make your trading process easy, be done within the first 1 hour of the day. Why do you have to sit the whole day? You can watch the market and hit singles later on, but you want to be done with most of your trading in the first hour, especially if you're trading options. So sector selection is a very good filter that's going to help you scan the market for that sector. In Finviz, you can also view charts in your search results. I'll show it to you because that will make sense. Float less than 25 million or 50 million. So this is for fast moving volatile stocks. So you may ask me, what is float? So float is something that so on a given day for day trading, if I don't find any good stocks to trade, I may actually use this and see what's a good volatile stock for me to trade. Sometimes I also use this for swing trading because I want to get those large percentage returns, those high moving stocks. So what does float mean? Float means what the total number of shares that's available to trade in the market. So generally, every company has outstanding shares. Outstanding shares include both restricted shares and locked shares, and also the total float of the shares. So the restricted and locked shares cannot be traded by you or me. For the float shares, the shares that's out there in the market to be traded, that's what we commonly refer to as float. Okay. So if the float of a stock is less than 25 million, it's considered a low float stock. What does that mean? It means that only 25 million shares are only available in the market to trade. So what's going to happen is on a given day, if there's a good news catalyst or something that's happening on a low float stock, since the number of shares available is very less, something good or bad happens, people are going to want to buy or get in the stock. And when the demand increases on a low float stock like that, the stock is going to rocket by a large percentage because people are going to continue with the ask. The ask is going to be moving. There's going to be a widespread, and stock's going to skyrocket. So a lot of stocks in the market, I'm going to show my platforms in a minute, are considered, you'll have a low float stock. So typically I don't look for 25 million. I usually key in 50 million. But when you key in float of 50 million or say something like that, that stock's going to be a very volatile, fast moving stock. And as an option trader, we want those stocks that's making a big price point move intraday. We don't want to trade a stock that just moves a couple of points every day. We like to trade those stocks like Zoom, MongoDB, because stocks like that, they move a large price point throughout the day. There's big ranges for the stock. And if stock moves a large range, we're going to make much more profits as an options trader. That's why I like to key in float sometimes to look for stocks that's worth trading in the market. I hope that you guys understand what float is. And I'll show it to you how you can key it in when I go over the platform. And lastly, let's say you key in all these information in your platform and you still don't like what you see. You can key in you can key in more variables like chart patterns, candlestick patterns, near some kind of moving average. So let's say you want something that's just sitting on the 50-day moving average, or you want something that's oversold or overbought in the RSI or some other indicator. You can key in by all of that. By chart patterns, I mean you can look for a descending triangle, a falling wedge, bull flag, whatever it is. So that you can search by those kinds of pattern, and the platform is going to return that for you. Okay, I'll show all of this for you. So whatever I'm showing here, I'll actually demonstrate once I jump to my platform. So I'm just going to pause the screen for a while, so that you guys can take a screenshot, because I'm going to share my trading, my website right now. I'll wait for 5 seconds and I'm jumping on. Okay. So I'm going to share my website now. Let's see. Okay, hope you guys can see my trading view. Can you guys see my trading view? Okay. All right, so let's first see, oops, what is this? I wanted to show you guys Finviz. So the Finviz platform, first thing you have to go to finviz.com, okay, finviz.com. And once you go there, you can create a free account if you want. And so this is the homepage. And let me just refresh it so that it has the latest information. So on the homepage, you can clearly see it's a very good homepage. On the top, you can see what's happening in the Dow Jones, what's happening in the NASDAQ, what's happening in the S&P 500, all three major indices, and how many stocks are advancing, meaning how many stocks in this index is actually green for the day and how much is declining, meaning how much is red for the day. So this is, as a trader, what I like to call it, this is what we call as advancers and decliners. So on a given day, if I say, hey, the Dow, we have more decliners than advances today, so it's kind of bearish the whole day. The sentiment is bearish. So what does mean is the main sentiment for that day for the Dow is bearish. So meaning you don't want to be looking to play any Dow stocks to the upside, because chances are if the Dow flushes, some of these green stocks is also going to lose support or it's not going to have strong momentum. And the NASDAQ, same way, you'll have how many stocks are advances, how many stocks are decliners. You can get all the sentiment here. But I think over here, the data that you see here is the collective of the whole market. It's not representing just the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P. But if you have other platforms, some of them is going to, I think Webull, for example, I think it shows you what are the advances, decliners for the different indices. Okay, and you can see the bull bear sentiment as well. Okay, so where will the S&P be in the next 5 minutes? So what the sentiment is based among traders. Okay, so that's the number one information that you can see in the homepage. Number two is it's going to show you the stocks that's actually trending in the market right now. So you can really see this stock SAVA trading $10, up 42% on the day on Friday. Look at this trading volume here, insane trading volume. This is the top gainer of the day. Chances are there's a lot of liquidity here. So if you're an equity trader, we may not have an option change for this ticker, but if you're an equity trader, this is a stock that's going to give you a very good opportunity. A lot of volume, large range of moves here. So chances are you're going to get a good trading opportunity trading the stock. Similarly, you can see the other stock is a penny stock here that's trading with very good volume. And if you're trading equity, you can do all that. Then we have all the other stocks that have different criteria. So you can see stocks that's making new highs. So new highs on the day, you will see which are the stocks that's making new highs. This is probably on the end of the day, these are the stocks that's making new highs. You can see stocks that's overbought, looking to be shorted. These are stocks that's that technically met overbought conditions. So it's time for a pullback. A lot of traders will be looking at NVCR is something that I'm watching. This stock, I got in at $80 a couple of weeks, 1.5 weeks back. Now it's trading at $110. If I held on to my two option position, they would be up 1,500%. I have major FOMO with this stock. I don't want to look at this, but it was downgraded on Friday, and it looks like it's going to be pulling back soon. There's also another other filters here for unusual volume, which stock was upgraded, and that's the catalyst. There's earnings catalyst, insider buying, and on the other side you have top losers, new low, oversold, most volatile stock, most active, downgrades, insider selling. ADPT, Adaptive Biotechnology, is a stock that's has a lot of insider selling in the most recent weeks. You can see the volume is higher than unusual, and this is something that's also on the watch list for many traders this coming week. So other than that, over here you can see different patterns here. You have descending triangle, ascending triangle. So it has classifies a lot of tickers based on the chart pattern. And similarly over here, you see the other side as well. You have channel up, double top, double bottoms. And so the cool thing about Finviz is that once you hover over the stock symbol, it's going to show you a preview of the chart. So you don't actually have to go click on it. So as a trader, once you get used to trading, you may have a preference for trading certain types of patterns, certain looking charts. I know I do. I know Mike would have, and I know Aristotle also have. So once you like a certain kind of pattern, then you can go in and look at the chart. So just by hovering over this, I can see which pattern I would like. Okay, so this is something that I would like more near double bottom. Looks like there's going to be a breakout soon. This is another pattern, good pattern as well. This is something good as well. So you guys get the point, right? So you can actually, without doing much research, is going to give you a good snapshot of what it is all traders are looking at. And remember, Finviz is a site used by millions of traders. So if you are seeing this, chances are they're also seeing it and they're also going to be interested in trading that stock. So chances are that on that day, that stock's going to have good volume. Okay. And another thing that you can see is headlines. During the market hours, the headlines pop would be much bigger. You'll see a lot of headlines coming in from different news sources. So you have Bloomberg, Wall Street Journal, you have Finance, Seeking Alpha, and different sources coming in during the day. And if you just have this on your screen, you'll see if some big news comes up. And over here, you see insider transaction. There's a different page to view that, but these are the big insider transaction values that they reported in the snapshot page. Okay, and another thing that you can do is maps. You go to maps, you can see the S&P 500 view. So which stock in the S&P 500, which sector has been doing good on Friday. So one-day performance. Clearly, tech's not doing good. Apple, the big component of S&P, is down 3%. Microsoft's down, Adobe's down, Oracle's down, and looks like healthcare did well on Friday. That's why we got in TDoc. It's like telemedicine. It's a good stock. We traded that on Friday. And consumer cyclicals, consumer defense, everything else is pretty bright red on that day. And so you can look at this information if it's relevant for you. You can look at maps to get a good feel on what the sentiment is currently. If you have real-time data, this is going to be real-time as well. And what else is there? All right, so let's go look at our screener. So if I go to news, I can see all the news here. These are the different news, all the news, and you'll have all the different trading blog. So you can view by time, view by source. You can filter it however way you like. And if you want to look at the screener, you can select the screener. So I have a preset screener here saved. I'm just going to select that. But you can clearly see what are the different types you have available. You have descriptive filters, you have fundamental filters, and you have technical filters. So descriptive filters, it has different criterias like which exchange is it trading in? Is it trading in the NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange? And you have market cap, you have earnings date, target price, which index is it part of? Is it part of the Dow Jones or is it part of the S&P? Or you have the average volume, relative volume, which is something you'll use. You have analyst recommendation. Are you looking for strong buy stocks? Remember, if you're trying to research stocks for purchases, if you're trying to buy equity for positional trading, you may want to use some of these filters as well, because it's going to limit your the list of stocks that's coming. So in this current page, by default, see how many pages I have, 377. It just goes on and on. I want to limit the number of results that I see. That's why we use all these filters. And fundamental based scanners, like I said, it's going to have all the ratios that we discussed: PE ratio, cash flow, forward PE. Remember I told you what the forward PE is? It's based on what analysts expect the stock to be over a course of a few years. And you have liquidity, debt to payout ratio, institutional transaction, net profit margin. Institutional ownership is something that I like. Generally, if there's a lot of institutions in the stock's going to do good. Actually, if you hover over this, it's going to explain to you what the definition of that variable is. So it's pretty nice. Technical filters, again, it's also very good. It's going to give you moving average filters. It's going to give you volatility if you're looking for strong volatile stock, and looking for RSI oversold or overbought conditions. Looking for chart patterns, see horizontal support or resistance. You have ascending triangle, descending triangle, head and shoulders, multiple bottoms, so on and so forth. You can search for candlesticks. If you're looking for the daily chart, you can search for candlesticks. Look for long-term plays. Now I'm just going to select my preset. So once you have a certain filter that you like, you can save that as your favorite filter, so that every time you don't have to come and key in that information. So I just selected my filter here now. So I selected small to mid cap stocks. So these are stocks with market cap 300 to 2 billion. So I'm actually going to go to mid cap right now. So that is going to give me a better result. And I have average volume more than 1 million and relative volume more than 1.5. So that's the definition that we discussed. Option chart is optionable. Country is USA. And For technical, you can choose anything here you want if you so desire. I think fundamental will have the float. So where's the float? There is no float here. Is it under technical? Oh, there's no float here. That's weird. Is it under over here? Yeah, here it is. So over here, you can look at what the float is. In this case, if you're looking for a low float stock, you want to look for something under 50%, which is a good one. And actually, float shares is supposed to be another thing, but it looks like, oh, there it is. Okay. So I want to look for something under 50 million. So if I do that, I'm going to get a list of stocks that's actually has a low float stock. So QDEL is a low float stock. I rallied 10% on that day with high trading volume. Now let's look at this stock chart here. The stock has rallied a lot on that given day. Maybe it's something that I would like to look at in my trading view. So if I go to my trading view and actually look at the stock, I may actually like the setup and I can play it if it has a good options chain. But in this view, you can clearly see what the chart is, and you can see what the insider transaction is here, what the analyst rating for the stock is, what the price target revision is, what the news is related to the stock. And you can see a lot of information and see what the sector is without going into too deeply without jumping in any of the nitty-gritty details. And another nice thing that I like about Finviz is, instead of looking at the overview, if I look at the charts view, I can actually see the charts in the search itself. So just by looking at this, I can clearly say which chart looks good. Okay. So this is something that looks good. This looks like it's trying to break out here. This looks like a falling wedge. It looks like it's trying to break out. Consolidating here is something that may be worth looking at. Now, if I actually remove the float here, so it's going to give me a lot more charts to look at. And over here, I have 17 pages worth of result. So I don't want to look at something like that. So maybe I'll change the average volume over 2. So these are the charts that's trading twice the average volume. So meaning there's actually superb liquidity in the stock. And maybe so this is something that I would want to be, one of these stocks, something that I want to be looking research into for swing trading or positional trading. We'll look for 2, 3. I'm going to see which are the stocks that's trading thrice the average volume. I only get a list of 3 stocks. So you guys get the point, right? So Coles is having very good volume. Look at this breakout here. So this is a breakout that happened recently, and you can clearly see stocks approaching 25, which is also resistance here. If it breaks 25, maybe the next target is 30. Maybe it goes there. So that's how you research stocks. Do something. You go and plot in your trading view, and then set your alerts. And once the entry level triggers, you do something that you want to trade. Remember, it's trading thrice the average volume. Chances are Coles has a very good options chain as well. So it may give you a good trading opportunity. Okay, so that's how you would use these scanners to simplify the process, especially if you want to look for swing trading setups. I hope you guys learned a lot over here. So the other options that's available in Finviz, you can look at insider transactions. Remember, I told you that for researching earnings or whatnot, you can actually come here and see what the top insider transactions was. You can see which company shareholder deposited a large percentage of shares. Typically, when you have a big insider transaction, that's going to affect the stock a little bit, especially if they dumped a large percentage of their current holdings in the market or bought a large percentage of shares. Okay. Okay, I hope you guys understood this. Now I'm going to go to the next platform, that's Benzinga. So this is my Benzinga app. I have the pro version. I have all the features in Benzinga. Subscribe to it. So the cool thing about Benzinga is, so you can clearly see different tabs that I've arranged here. Okay, so I have different. These are my own customized tabs. So what you can do is you can create your own tab, and the way Benzinga's app is modeled is going to be it's going to allow you to have your own 4-way setup. So every page that you see is going to be divided by up to 4 windows, and you can customize your workspace, like they call it, however way you want. So I'm going to show you how I have my workspace set up, and see if you guys liked it and you like the platform, you can set it up that way yourself, or you can just use customize it however way you like. Okay, so my homepage. So this is my homepage for Benzinga. So there is a chat here. It's just a list of all the subscribers. You can chat here, read the chat. Typically, I have that hidden so that it's not bothering me, all the constant moving. But you can also subscribe to the chat if you want. You can listen to the Squawk voice if you want. Charlie is going to be there again, and you can just listen to all of that. And so there are a couple of windows here. So I'm not going to click any of that because I have already integrated that into my workspaces. So in my home screen, the first thing that I have here is option activity. So you have to pay, I think 30 or 45 or $50. I think it's $60. I don't quote me on the price because I don't know how much I'm paying. But if you pay a certain amount, you can also get option activity flow coming in Benzinga. And I don't use this for option flow. I use Blackbox for option flow. But if I'm researching something in my page, instead of going to a different platform, I like to see the option flow here as well, so that if something's coming in and I see a big news pop in, and then I see option flows coming in, then that's something that I'm going to be interested in. I don't want to be wasting time and going to a different platform. So I have the option flow as well. So in this is the signals tool. So if you want signals, you can select this and it's going to open in a new page. So over here, I have signals customized over here. So in my signals, I have enabled only option activity so that I only see options coming displayed here in this page. There are a few other options available as filters. I customized them in a different page, but in this page, I only have options activity enabled. So down here, I see the news feed coming in, and you have different sources. So I have Benzinga wires enabled for this particular page. It's going to give me all the official hot news in the market. If it's a really important news, it's going to be shaded red. So over here, you see, so maybe that's not an important news. Over here, Supreme Court news here, Justice Ruth, the sad news that we got, that news was reported here, 6:43, and you see a lot of other news coming in. You can filter that news, whatever that's coming in, based on sector. So if you're only looking for something like tech-related news or healthcare-related news, you can select that checkbox, and it's going to filter the results by that sector. And another cool thing you can do is you can limit by watch list. So I have a watch list over here that's available. It's not my official watch list because I use TradingView for my watch list, but I have some stocks that I commonly trade over here. So if I want to limit my search results by my watch list, I can do that, and it's only going to show me stocks that's in my watch list, the news for the stocks related in my watch list. Okay, so I can do that as well, and I'm not going to do that now. And I can also enable desktop notifications. So if something news comes in, I'm going to see that pop here in my desktop, which I don't like when I'm trading, so I don't enable that as well. And on the right side, like I said, I'm going to have all my watch list items. So typically it's going to be fast moving, high beta names, Lululemon, Netflix, MongoDB, Roku, Team, Tesla, mostly tech stocks. I mostly trade tech stocks, being an IT person myself. I like tech, I trade tech stocks, and I have all that information here. And I can add new items to my watch list. I can have multiple items in my watch list. So on the right side, on the bottom right, there's a preview page. This is what we call as details page. So in this page, I have signals, I have watch list, I have newsfeed, and I have details. So you have signals, watch list, newsfeed, and details. So all four are available in this page, in my home page, and I've customized each of those different categories uniquely. So in this details page, so why I like this is, so I can set a chart here and get a quick view of it, quick view of the chart. I can select a different ticker. So I can select Netflix, and I'm going to see a quick view of that chart here right now. So I'm not seeing Netflix. I don't know what happened. Maybe I should select a different one. Oh, here it is. The candlesticks got messed up. So I can see a quick view of the chart here right now if I want. And instead of going to TradingView, I can actually check what the chart looks like right now. And that's going to help me trade the stock. So it's a very nice page. And if I'm looking for some kind of news I can just click news here. Instead of going and filtering by the ticker here, once I select the ticker here, if I select news, I'm going to see all the news here related to that. If I select Zoom, I'm going to see Zoom related news. And if I want to see the calendar for Zoom, I can see what the recent analyst rating for Zoom is. We got 3 outperform ratings last week during November. You can see what the retail sales for Zoom is. We can see if any SEC filings are completed for Zoom. So this Benzinga is going to do all the work for you and consolidate everything. So I can click here and just easily view the news. You can see when it was IPO'd. We can see what the guidance the company issued. So for if you're doing earnings research, I do mine in Benzinga. It's such a nice app, but most platforms have this same information for free. Okay, you don't have to pay over the odds to do it. I think you can do it even in TOS. You can do it in Yahoo Finance. All this information is available. The same information is just available in a different format in different sites. Okay, so you can see Zoom's guidance. You can see Zoom's earnings here. Next is unconfirmed date. See, it's confirmed date for Zoom on 8/31. They reported the surprise was they surprised earnings by 100%. That was the earnings surprise, EPS surprise, and see when the conference call is for Zoom, and so on and so forth. So if I select chart, it's going to give me TradingView. So there's actually TradingView integrated in this platform. So if you are just trading, swinging or something like that, you don't even have to go to your TradingView. You can actually do your research here. You have all the tools, trend lines, Fibonacci, and so on and so forth. You have the different time frames. You have the candlesticks and different charts, patterns. You can add your indicators here. You have accumulation and distribution if you want it. And so it's a very nice platform. It's very useful. I can also have a full screen view if I want. So it's going to help me chart much nicer view. I don't have to limit myself to a smaller screen. I can do it in a larger screen as well. Okay, so that's a chart. And for financials, we have the balance sheet, income statement, and cash flow. It's pretty standard. And peers is a very important tab. So any stock that you select, especially for earnings research, remember what did I say? What did I tell you guys? If one stock in a sector is doing well, chances are its competitor is also going to produce similar result. For Zoom, you can see what the competitors for Zoom are. We have T-Mobile, we have Verizon, so it's not classifying it exactly. Let me select Visa. So Visa, you have PayPal, you should probably have SQ, and all those are PayPal's competitors. So if one company does well, you can look at what the other industry peers are doing, research those stocks. You have all these financials here. You can see which one has a good PE ratio, which one is overvalued, which one is undervalued. It's a very neat platform, especially if you're doing research. You're looking to invest in companies. You're trying to find a needle in a haystack. Benzinga is a good platform. Okay, so this is my first page. My second page is my default page. This is where I spend most of my time during intraday and pre-market. So this is called the movers setting here. So you can click this and define it here. So what this is going to do is it's going to act as my screener, kind of an intraday screener. So it's going to scan every 1 minute, and it's going to see what's happening in the market. So pre-market, I'm going to see which stock is up on the day pretty decently. So you can see which stocks are up. Tesla was up 6% on Friday pre-market during the session. And during the regular session, which stocks was up. Wayfair was up 8% on the day. So these are stocks that you may not be watching during the day, but these stocks are clearly doing much better than the entire market that day. So market was red on Friday, but Wayfair apparently was doing pretty good. So you can filter this by gainers and losers, or just gainers or just losers. I usually like to have gainers and losers because I don't want to be biased in my direction. I want to know which stocks following the market, which stocks trading against the market. And you can filter by session, pre-market, regular, and after hours. And for period, you can select the session period, but I usually have 5 minutes set up to see at every 5 minutes which stocks actually popping, which stocks moved a lot in these last 5 minutes, because that's going to tell me which stocks actually gaining some momentum. Remember, momentum is the rate of change of price over a short period of time. In a period of 5 minutes, I want to see which stocks. Oh, there's a bad Tesla news here. Leak Musk email claims Tesla may have a short at making a record. Oh, that's a good news. Okay, Tesla may be something to watch tomorrow then. So anyway, so what I was saying was, so I set this to 5 minutes to see what the momentum was for the 5 minutes for the stock, for the market cap. Typically, I don't trade anything under for day trading intraday. I want to look for large cap stocks. But if I select smaller cap, I may see something like SRNE, which may be something that's rallying, and we may see VNet, that's something that was rallying the last week. You may see a lot of other things as well that you may normally not trade. Okay. You may select your market cap. You don't have to filter by price because that's pointless. But if you are looking for stocks that's trading above 50, you can do that. Oops, sorry. You can do that as well. Uh, it's going to help you avoid smaller names, but that's a preference. Okay, and you have other filters as well. So you're looking for average volume the last 3 months or 3 days. You can do that. You can see the volumes over here, previous close, change, name, what sector it is, market cap, all that information as well. You can add more filters to it if you like, but I like to keep it simple. This is the default view. I just go with the default view. So in the second pane here, the bottom, I again have my option activity because I don't want to go to the home page to look at option activity. So I like to have option activity and news and the details in this page as well. So if I scan for something and I see something I like, I just click that stock. I'm going to view the chart here. Look at how this Alni was trending end of day on Friday. It was actually having a very good move here. So that's something that I like. And if I really like, so if I see some kind of option activity come in there, I can select that particular option. So there's something energy sector ETF that's coming in. If I click that stock symbol, I'm going to get that stock pulled up here. So that's also pretty neat. And for news is just going to keep coming in. Just going to keep reading the news. If I see something I like, Tesla, I'm just going to open Tesla's chart. Okay, so this is my second page. Sweepers page is again something that I like to see. So I have the signals tab here, the same setting, but instead of option activity over here, I have price spikes. So price spikes is going to tell you which stocks are showing sudden price spikes. So these are spikes that high momentum spikes. So some kind of good news happens, stocks suddenly spike up. So on Friday, I think Beyond Meat had like this crazy move end of day. So Beyond Meat was as a price spike that was happening, but you can see other price spikes that happen throughout the day. So when something was trending up or down, I guess put on this list here. So you may want to look at that stock and see what's happening. So Beyond Meat, you had an after hour spike here. That's what it's showing. And you can see other price spiking as well. And over here, same news feed here. I want to have the news in every page. And over here, I have something called as block trade. Now, remember I talked about Kohl's? See, we had a Kohl's block trade. Someone bought 600,000 shares at 23.399. So that's another big thing. This is a big trade, big block trade performed after hours. Someone did this on Kohl's. Maybe this is something that we want to look at tomorrow because we saw the same. Kohl's was trading 3x the average volume, was in a it showed a good chart pattern. That's number two. It had a big block trade. Chances are we're going to have good option activity as well. Let's see if we can search for Kohl's here. So you can see a block trade. Oh, someone bought 4.2 million shares at 23.40. Someone bought 1.5 million on Friday. See how many people bought. So some of them bought below the bid. So that may be a bearish trade as well. And see what are the option activity here. A lot of call activity coming in Wednesday, and shares of several retail companies are trading higher. So you can clearly see a sentiment here, right? Everyone's interested in Kohl's all of a sudden. Now, normally I wouldn't even be looking at a stock like Kohl's, but I've seen too many signs here pointing that there may be an opportunity there. So I'll just look at the chart, set my alert, and wait for my opportunity. So if my trade meets the criteria, I'll execute and make money. Okay, so that's how you would do it. Let's go to the sweeps page. So that's so these are block trades. So block trades I'll be covering when I go over. I think in a couple of lessons I'll go over, teach you what block trade is, what dark pools are, and I will show you how you can use that to your advantage. So block trades are covered here. And so the main part of today's lesson is screeners. So we have a separate page for screeners, and you can use that to screen stocks based on your criteria. So in over here, same like Finviz, you have all the filters here. So the basic filters, you'll have the symbol, market cap, price, change percentage, volume, which exchange sector. So that's a default one. So over here, I only have the market cap 10 billion to 200 billion set up as active here. Fundamentals, I have float under 50 million. So I'm looking for low float stocks. And for technicals, I'm looking for relative volume over 1.5. Okay, so that's all the filters that I'm looking for. So these are the 3 active filters, and I got a list of stocks that are high beta names, meaning these are the stocks that's either a low float stock trading with 1.5 times the average volume, and it's a large cap stock. So you have Peloton. Remember I told you Wayfair was trending, but look at my filter. My filter pulled in Wayfair as well, which was a trending stock on Friday. I just used these 3 easy filters. So look at Wayfair stock. So how trending the stock is, just one trend line. So if you've gotten on any of these pullbacks, you would have made money. So if you got in here, you would have made money. If you got in here, you would have made money. So you clearly see the stocks trending very nicely. And if you're just playing breakouts, break of each key resistance, you could have made a lot of money. So there's another trading opportunity here. There was a trading opportunity here. There was another trading opportunity here. So you have 3 trades, chances for 3 trades here in Wayfair. Okay, so that's Wayfair, and this is how you would utilize the filter. Now, if you want to see more stocks, I would suggest you just remove the float, because float is seriously going to restrict the number of results that you see. If you remove the float, you're going to see a lot of stocks. So you got 270 results here. See the stocks. If you want to look for stocks that's actually trending on by a large percentage on that given day, you can select that and see which stocks are doing good on that day. So RDY, W, Aptiv, Zoom was going good, Peloton, BGNE, DKNG, Net, MongoDB. These are stocks that were doing good on Friday. Despite the whole market sell-off, some of the even tech names were doing good. MongoDB was doing good. And so that's something that you might have missed if you weren't actually looking for the stock. Etsy was doing good. CrowdStrike was doing good. Kroger was doing good. Okay, you guys get the point, right? So that's how you look for stocks, see which doing good, and see which stocks outperforming the market and trade those stocks. Okay, so the next thing that I have here is a calendar tab. So in the calendar tab, I have I can look at the calendar for that week. So if I'm looking for economics, I can see what the economics are for the different. So you'll have oil data, you have unemployment claims, you'll have whatever it is on that given week. You'll see what's expected, what the consensus is, what the prior was, what the actual was. If you're looking for economic data, you can look at it here. And if you're looking for some kind of earnings call, conference call, you can do that. So let me actually set this up. So if I do that, I can see what are the different conference calls. So I can see which companies are giving out conference calls. If I want to look for earnings, I can do that. All I have to do is just select the list of dates correctly, and I can see which company is reporting earnings. You have Costco, you have Nike, a lot of retailers are reporting. See what the expectation is, what the surprise is, do your research, and you can play that as well. The next tab you have is analyst ratings. You can clearly see which finance firm gave a recent analyst upgrade or downgrade. So since it's a future date, I have to go look at the previous week. So I can clearly see what are the top analyst upgrades and downgrades. So I just select Friday. I can see what Friday, which were the stocks that were upgraded or downgraded on Friday. So Plug Power was upgraded. See this big spike here. Did well, and a lot of stocks that were upgraded or downgraded. You're gonna look at this, but same information is available on many websites. Since if you follow the right person on Twitter, you can get the same information as well. Okay, so that's the calendar tab. Then I have a separate tab called for breakouts. So for breakouts tab, I have the same news feed. I have the same chart tab here. I have the movers here. Over here, I have price tabs, and I also look for opening gappers. So if some of the stock has a big opening gap, meaning from the previous day's close to the current day's open, I have something with a very good opening gap, there may be a gap fill play here. So if I'm looking to trade equity or something like that, I may want to look for this trade, this tab, I may want to use the setting here to research those stocks. And I can also enable highs and lows. If some stock is testing high of day, chances are it's going to keep going. Some stocks testing low of day, there may be a new low coming in. That's also presenting another different kind of trading opportunity if you want to really look for something like that. But that's about it for Benzinga. It's a very nice platform. It's very user friendly. You have a lot of things available in the same place, like news, you have charts, you can have options if you play extra money, you can have the screeners and whatnot, you can have chat, you can have voice Quark, and it's a very nice platform, but it costs a little bit. But if you're really serious, you can purchase it and use this to your advantage. Okay, so that's Benzinga. Now I'm going to jump to TradingView, which is another platform. Oh, I'm looking at Apple this week. Looks like it's maybe time for a reversal soon. But if it's not, it's in danger of falling to $100. Just researching Apple. Anyway, what did I want to show? Yeah, I want to show I want to show you the screener. So on your left side, you have something called a stock screener, bottom left. So if I click that, okay, and if I click the maximize button, it's going to give me a different view. This may be something that you might have never, even though you've been using for TradingView for quite a while, you might have never seen this page here. But this is essentially the filter page for TradingView. Sorry, the screener page for TradingView. It's going to give you a lot of option to filter stocks based on your criteria. So these are the list of stocks that by default I have in my watch list. On the right side, you have something called as filters. So if I select that, it's going to give me the same options that we saw in Benzinga and Finviz. So it's going to give me descriptive filters, fundamental filters, and technical filters. Now, the great thing about TradingView, despite it being a free platform, is it has a lot of technical filters. So if you're looking for something that's speaking out of the Bollinger Bands, you can filter that based on that. If you're looking for something that has an ADI that's below 20 or something like that, the 14-day ADI, you can do that. If you're looking for Chaikin money flow, the money flow index, maybe oversold money flow index, you can look for that. Maybe be a short opportunity for that stock if there's divergence. So you have a lot more technical filters available in TradingView than any platform that I've seen before, especially for a screener. So you can key in a lot of this information and make it work for you. If you want to really tweak with your strategy, if you're really looking to play a technical strategy, some kind of pure technical play, you can do that. Sometimes I do it, but normally I just try to keep things simple. But you can really use this. This is very powerful. And if you become a really technical trader, you can use this to your advantage. And for fundamental filters, the same thing that we discussed, you have all the ratios, you can have the market cap, sector, use all of that to filter your results. Over here, the descriptive filters has the same kind of information. You have country, you have pre-market volume, what the relative volume is. You want to select something with high relative volume, and you can do that. So over here, if I have relative volume, let's say 2, then it's going to filter the stocks behind the scenes. And if I select an industry, let's say I just want airlines. So I don't find anything over there. Okay. And the average volume, you can do that. Let's say you just don't want anything below 1 million. Okay, you can do that. And market cap, 10 billion to maybe 100 billion. You can do that as well. Fundamental filters, you don't want anything fundamental. Let's go to technical. Let's see if there's float here. There should be float here for sure. It's a lot of filters here. Anyway, you guys get the point, right? You can filter by this, and then what you have to do is, so I have a list of 71 matches for the filters that I just applied. I can just select that stock by clicking on it, and then once I minimize it, it's going to open that chart for me, And if there's something interesting for you to see, you can trade that. So go to a 4-hour chart, clearly see what's happening. Maybe there's a reversal coming in for BDX. It's quite at a support level here. There's a big support level here. If it breaks the support level, maybe danger for the stock. So it's a nice play. Maybe there's a bounce play here up until the 50 EMA here. Maybe there's a play that's happening. So it's in a falling wedge. A lot of charts look the same way because of the recent sell-off. So a lot depends on the overall market sentiment, but a lot of these are presenting good trading opportunities. So once you do that, you can switch to the next stock that you like, and or you can filter your add more filters to refine your results. But the possibilities are endless. You just have to figure out which strategy you like to apply, use, and do your research before market opens. Use these tools to add to your advantage and basically figure out your trading plan. And we will have more lessons in AMU to teach you how you can set your trading plans, what kind of stocks you can trade, how to grow your account. So don't worry about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson where we talked about screeners. Now it's time for questions. Thank you.